Thank you for being here this evening. We appreciate it. I'd like to call the City Council regular meeting to order on Tuesday, July 20th, 2021. This time we'd like to invite Pastor Luke Pantor from Grace Fellowship Church to please come forward. He will lead us in an invocation, after which we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. We'll all stand and recite that, and Councilman Rich Vidiello will lead us in that. So, Pastor, would you make sure the green button is pushed there, and everyone else in the audience, please rise. Yeah,
all right,
should be there. You go.
Thank you. Thanks for having me tonight. Let's pray. Almighty God, maker of all that has ever been, all that is today, and all that will ever be, sustainer of the universe, you hold all planets in perfect motion, and you fill this earth with life and breath. You fill the expanse of endless universes with your glory. Your power and wisdom are incomprehensible. Your wisdom, your ways inscrutable. As high as the heavens are above the earth, so are your ways above ours. You humble the proud. You exalt the weak. You lift up the poor. You confound the wise. You give understanding to the simple. And while you are all good, we are sinners. As reasoning creatures made in your image, we have all chosen to go our own way. And while we have attempted in our own wisdom and strength to find our own way back to you, you lovingly show us in your law that we are corrupt beyond self-saving. And so you came to us in your Son, Jesus, Emmanuel, God with us, so that any who believe in him are saved by his righteousness, justified by faith, and called sons and daughters of the Most High God. Thank you, Father, for what you have done for us in your Son, Jesus Christ. Tonight I pray that you give our esteemed city council members and our mayor and vice mayor grace and wisdom, that as they work on behalf of the citizens of Maricopa, you would grant them peace with one another, that as they use their gifts and intellect for the advancement of the good, and as they seek justice, righteousness, equity, and prosperity, that you would graciously bless their efforts. Thank you for giving us council members and a mayor who feel the weight of their office. Thank you for giving us law enforcement officers, EMT, fire department personnel for guarding us and caring for our safety. Bless each one of them tonight and their families, we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Thank you, Councilmember. Thank you, Pastor. Appreciate it. Appreciate that invocation. That'll take us to the roll call.
Councilmember Learman. Here. Councilmember Manfredi.
Here.
Councilmember Marsh.
Here.
Councilmember Vidiello. Here. Councilmember Wade.
Here.
Vice Mayor Smith. Mayor Price.
Here.
Mr. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Great. Thank you very much. That'll take us to item 3.1 on the agenda, which is a presentation of Southwestern Pediatrics recognition. Turn the time over to Councilmember Rich Vidiello.
Hello. I'd like to call up, I'm going to call them my heroes. Sultan, Dr. DeGeorge, and Joanne, could you guys please, DeLucci, I'm sorry. Can you guys please come up here? And then also City Council, could you guys come down, please? Good. Stand over here for a second. So the reason why I call these people my heroes is because we went through a tough time during the COVID time. And these selfless people came out and did an amazing job for the city of Maricopa. Not only do I want to thank them, but I want to thank staff. I want to thank PD. I want to thank fire. And every volunteer, forgive me, I don't know everybody's names, but everybody who came out for these 3 dates, January 23rd, February 20th, and March 1st, to give COVID shots to people they didn't know. So they took their time to come out and take care of our city. This is our city, and it's their city. So I want to show appreciation. by presenting this plaque to them so they can hang this in their office so they know and that their patients know what they came and did for the city of Maricopa. They didn't have to do this, but they came out and did it 3 times in a row, 1,200 shots. And if they had more shots, they would have given them out. So I do thank the staff. I thank council who came out and helped. I thank, like I said, PD, fire, every volunteer, Pinell County volunteers. There were so many volunteers that came out to help. We couldn't have done it without them, but without these people right here who facilitated along with staff to make sure that COVID was going to get beaten here in Maricopa. So I want to thank each and every one of you. It says, Heroes of Maricopa, Southwestern Pediatrics and Family Care, awarded for their selfless service of distributing COVID shots to the residents of the city of Maricopa, Arizona. So, thank you very much, guys.
I don't get a hug and a kiss.
Why don't you guys come right in the middle here?
So can you guys come over here? I'd like to picture with you guys.
You know, when this whole COVID thing hit, we as healthcare providers, you know, try to do our best to see what we can do to help prevent the spread of disease, help prevent our family members and our friends from dying. You know, when this happened, every day went by, you know, this person passed away from COVID, this person's loved one passed away from COVID, and we were thinking, what can we do? What can we do to help stop this? And we came with the city of Maricopa, and we decided to get together and hold these clinics. And I'm so happy that the city was able to get involved in this, and the fire departments and the EMTs and my staff, with Joanne and all my medical assistants and Dr. Gallucci and the other 2 Sues that are not here. I want to make sure we give them recognition, but they did a great job. We were able to do what we thought we couldn't do in the short notice that we had. So I just want to thank the City of Maricopa, Southwestern Pediatrics staff, Dr. Gallucci, and the 2 nurses, and Will, we forgot Will too, that helped us with vaccinating. And thank you for this plaque. This is awesome, guys.
Thanks for coming.
Oh, my pleasure. Just got back from Italy, the homeland.
I hear. I should have sent you to my grandparents' house. Bring back some wine. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you for that. We appreciate it. Thank you, Councilmember Vitiello, and thank you, Southwestern Pediatrics. At this time, we'd like to move to the report from the mayor and the council members. So turn it over to the council members at this time. Yes, we'll start with the vice mayor and then move on to Councilmember Marsh.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, some really cool and fun stuff. First off, we had a joint meeting with the Auction Board and the City of Maricopa City Council. I don't want to steal too much from everyone, but it was phenomenal in terms of ways that we found to better and improve communication between each other. And there's a lot that can be accomplished, and I know you'll probably be talking about that a little bit later, something similar. A lot that can be accomplished by having those relationships. And so a lot of good stuff came out of that. I also held 2 senior lunch and learns in between because we had one meeting that was canceled in early July. Exceptional Health Care came and spoke to our seniors and packed the room. Lots of great questions, lots of great answers, great presentation. Just so you all know, they are in the process of planning on looking to make sure that they can take Medicare. It actually starts occurring, the process occurs when they finally get their doors open, so it takes some time, so it's something that they're looking into. They wanted to make it clear that they are planning on doing that. And I learned some fascinating stuff, such as if you went to exceptional health care because you were in an emergency situation, they will immediately transfer you after they take care of you to the extent that they can. If you need further care at a larger hospital, they will immediately transfer you, and they're going to have a airport as a helicopter port as well. So if it's a super emergency, they'll be able to get you there quickly. But there's no waiting in line when you get to a larger hospital. They will have the relationships necessary to actually get you right into a room or into Surgery Center or whatever the case may be. So some really good opportunities coming out of that, and they were a wonderful presenter. Global Water came and spoke with about 30 seniors. They had some phenomenal questions as well. And Global Water gave a great presentation on what they actually do for the community, talked about purple pipes, talked about our aquifer. Really good information. We have Sheriff Lamb coming to our August 20th Lunch and Learn, so if you want to come and learn from Sheriff Lamb what's going on in the county and around the city of Maricopa in the county areas, that'll be a fascinating speak as well. I went to the Pinal Partnership breakfast where manufacturing was the topic. And y'all might say, well, why are you talking about manufacturing? But it's interesting how there's now a big push on making sure we bring manufacturing back from overseas into the United States. And Arizona is making sure we're leading the way. They currently have the Arizona Chamber of Commerce, the City of Maricopa, the State of Arizona, Pinal County, and Maricopa County and the rest of the counties, Arizona Commerce Authority, all working together to find ways to bring manufacturing back into the state of Arizona. And what that does for the state of Arizona is, number one, we all were a little worried about China having all the ability to create things during COVID, right? Well, we want to make sure that if those types of emergencies come up, we have the manufacturing in the United States and in the state of Arizona. So manufacturing is really huge, and I love how all these entities are now pulling together to bring manufacturing back into the state of Arizona. So that was really fascinating. And then I also attended Pinal Partnership meeting on water because there was a big article, you probably saw the big article, on how development's going to be ceased in Pinal County because of the announcement of the water shortage. And so their Pinal Partnership is bringing many entities together to help really understand that and really understand and spread the word that actually Pinal County is not as in big trouble as the articles seem to relate to. In particular, it's really important to know that although we don't want a shortage of water in the state of Arizona, we want to improve that and find ways to improve that. The city of Maricopa, during their global talk with our seniors at the Lunch and Learn, made sure that people were aware of the businesses in Maricopa, the residents in Maricopa actually don't use any river water to support them. Now the farmers do, but the city businesses, city residents don't. We use the aquifer, and they have a 100-year supply. And the interesting part is they're currently only using 1/3 of that allotment, and so they still have 2/3 of allotment of water supply for 100 years. And then I asked the question because it was interesting, because how long does that 100 years last? Or is it rolling, or how does that work? And what I found out that I didn't know is they periodically, every few years, will go back and do an verification that the 100-year water supply still exists. And so basically what that means is our aquifer in various ways is continuing to stay at that 100-year level for the amount of allocation that we currently have. So that's good news for the city of Maricopa. And I think we want to make sure that people understand that, because we get a lot of questions on how are you doing this when we have a water shortage? How are you doing that when we have a water shortage? And it helps to explain that situation. I'll let someone else talk about July 4th. It was a lot of fun. Our city manager went and talked to 150 people at Province. When I had the city manager come to our senior lunch and learn, They loved it so much. Someone was there from Province, and they said, "Can you bring him to the Province group?" And I said, "Well, I certainly will ask." And when I asked the city manager, he goes, "You know, Nancy, you can give this presentation." And I'm like, "Yeah, but there's something mystical about the city manager who no one gets to talk to. And they just love when you come and talk to them." And so, again, he wowed the crowd, 150 people at Province, and they had lots of great questions. And it was a wonderful way. What I heard constantly from people leaving that environment was, "Oh, you blew that rumor, you blew that rumor, you put an end to that rumor." So all the rumors we hear, it's funny how if you ask someone who really has information, they'll help, put that to bed and put it to rest. And they walked away with a great amount of information. So thank you. It was a fun few weeks.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Appreciate it. Councilmember Marsh.
Yeah, I've had a busy month too. First, I want to recognize Mayor Price. I learned on Facebook that he's responsible for all the yellow butterflies we've seen here in town this month. On the 16th of June, I too attended the auction dinner with the rest of the board, and there I learned that we're really one community. We're not two separate communities. We're both on the same page, and your city council is very much in alignment with their tribal council. They're really nice people too. On the 17th, I attended the Culture and Arts Committee, and on the 18th, I attended Nancy's Lunch and Learn, where I learned more about exceptional health care and their future here. On the 21st, I attended the Age-Friendly Committee meeting, where they're sort of like the governing board for the new senior center at the new community center that we're doing a ribbon cutting ceremony for on the 24th of this month, 9 a.m. at the old library, if you're interested. On the 23rd, I took a federal government and state level training on how to deal with the new census data. We're finally getting the 2020 census count together, and hopefully by November we'll have data that we can actually sink our teeth into. And I attended a Parks and Rec meeting that day too. On the 24th of June, I participated as a board member on the Pinal County Board of Adjustment, where we dealt with several homeowner issues. And I also met with a Maricopa resident, Henry Staggs. He's a roofer, and roofing skills, tradesmen, journeymen, are very much in demand right now here in this country and in this county. And he's going to stick his neck out and get a roofing school going here in Maricopa, helped out by Central Arizona College and others, and he's got a meeting scheduled for mid-August. Keep an eye out on social media for it if you're interested. We do need to have tradesmen have a place to go to get skilled, so that we're not just dependent on foreign workers. Attended a Planning and Zoning Committee meeting on the 28th, and on the 4th of July, since Mayor Price was out of town, the rest of us on City Council got to get up on stage and have our moment of fame. So thank you for that, Christian.
My pleasure.
And I want to, really thank the city, the community services group especially, for putting on just a wonderful 4th celebration. The parking lot was filled all afternoon with tailgaters, and the park was filled with people with chairs and picnic tables and blankets, and the fireworks were great. The weather held out too, so it was a spectacular 4th. On the 7th of July, attended the Historical Society meeting, and we had another long-term resident tell stories from the past 100 years here in Maricopa. On the 8th, I attended the Maricopa Flood Control District meeting and got an update on their Desert Cedars project and on something that's on the agenda tonight, where we'll be passing a law that makes it illegal to drain your pools onto the embankments of our flood control channels. It erodes the channels and costs us tens of thousands of dollars in repairs to get the banks rebuilt after some incident like that. On the 12th of July, I attended another planning and zoning meeting. Rudy's been very busy with agenda items. On the 13th, I attended a Pinal County Water Augmentation Authority board meeting, or I'm on the board, and we're coming up with new sources for water for Maricopa and for the county. On the 14th, attended a Arizona Department of Water Resources meeting on the same topic, how to get more water into Arizona. And then on the 15th, the Governor's Water Resources Committee meeting sort of added it all up on a statewide basis. On the 16th, Global Water presented at Nancy's Lunch and Learn, and it's always fascinating to get updated on what's going on with our water. Coming up this coming Thursday, is a redistricting meeting where we're going to learn more about the political subdivisions in our state and how the redistricting committee is working on it, and we can get our public inputs in to the committee on that. And then reiterating, Saturday at 9 a.m., the community center ribbon cutting event is happening at the old library, which is becoming the new community center, which will support a senior center and a veteran center. It's going to be an exciting thing for Maricopa. It's something a lot of us have been working on for a long time. It's a huge event to get a bricks and mortar senior center going in our city. That's about it. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Councilmember. Yes, Councilmember Learman.
Mayor, I just wanted to thank Chief Hughes for allowing me an opportunity to spend time with our officers, our heroes, and watching them make every connection excellent. I was able to spend some time talking with them and observing them serving our community, and it was an honor, and I just want to thank you for that.
Thank you very much. Any other council members wish to proceed at this time? Councilmember Wade or Councilmember Manfredi?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Councilmember Vitiello?
I just want to wish Vince Manfredi a quick and speedy recovery, and God bless you, buddy. Can't wait to get you back.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you. Just quickly here, a couple things. Councilmember Marsh mentioned it. There is a redistricting meeting going on. As you know, every 10 years, the redistricting of congressional districts and legislative districts, Board of Supervisors districts happen based on the census and the population of the country as it moves around. So in order to be fair to the way that government funds, your tax dollars are distributed and assigned to different locations, definitely where there's more need, more people, there's more need, and so therefore there should be more dollars. And so it gets rearranged every 10 years. The Redistricting Commission this year, I think due to COVID, was a little hesitant to hold as many meetings as they perhaps should have. They did it 10 years ago, and they did something like 300 meetings all over the state, and this year they are way down to less than half of that. And so we approached them and asked them, as of Friday, they're doing the only one in Pinal County. It will be held in Florence, but we are having a sub-satellite version here that you can participate in. So if you are interested in either learning about the redistricting process, speaking to the redistricting board on what your thoughts are based on the way the districts are now and how you think they should be into the future, then I would encourage you to show up to our library here at 5 p.m., at which point... I have some feedback there. At which point, between 5 and 7, you will be able to talk to the board. So I highly encourage you. Like I said, this will be the only time that it's held in Pinal County, and it will be right here at our library. So 5 p.m., please show up. And then last but not least, here, council members on the phone, can you put your phone on mute, please?
I was trying to speak, but you couldn't hear me previously.
Go ahead, Councilmember Wade.
Yes, I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt, but I was trying to speak and wasn't able to.
Go ahead.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Good evening and hello to my fellow council members. I apologize for breaking in, but so just speaking on things that we have done over the last several months. We, of course, attending the 4th of July ceremony, which was astounding. The light display was outstanding, and the people seemed to enjoy a lot of oohs and ahs. And as was mentioned, the tail party was well attended, as well as the pool party, which was another added addition from previous years. So it went over very, very well. On the 16th, and I'm glad that everyone would have mentioned the dinner that we had with the Ak-Chin. It was very, very warm, friendly, and event or issues intensive. You know, we talked about a lot of different things, but I think one of the most important things we tried to emphasize and stress was that we are a family, Ak-Chin as well as the citizens in the city of Maricopa. And on Saturday, I had an opportunity on July 12th to speak to a group of youth on leadership and teamwork with Coach K's group that meets over at Maricopa Wells Middle School on a regular basis. And I had an opportunity to talk to those before, and it was amazing the number of kids that were there on a Saturday afternoon to practice and participate in basketball. It was great. On the 19th, participated in the Juneteenth celebration at the library. It was actually a celebration that was put together for Juneteenth by a group called Citizens Supporting Our City, and it was again well attended with a demonstration on African American art and African American studies, and it was put together in the effort to share the knowledge of Juneteenth, which, as we know now, is a national holiday, but had not been really celebrated in the way that it has been celebrated here lately, or actually over the last 3 years. Well, obviously, on July the 19th, there was an evening at Pecana Park for the Juneteenth celebration as well, put on by an organization called For the Culture in support of Blackstone Entertainment. There were speakers, food, vendors, kids, area for kids to play. It was very well attended and very, very well done, I have to say. Then on July 26th, I had an opportunity to show our support for the LGBTQ plus community by offering a proclamation on LGBTQ month, which we were celebrating. And there was both a morning and an evening celebration, and I got an opportunity to participate in both of those on behalf of the city. And lastly, I just want to make sure that, one last thing. I had an opportunity to speak with the leadership of Orbitel and talk a little bit about the future of Maricopa as it relates to their services and how we will move forward in the future, supporting one another to try to make sure that those resources are available to us, just as water and other resources are developed and concentrated on. Orbitel also has the same thought in mind about what they can do to support the city. And then finally, as we know, the moratorium on foreclosures and eviction, it will come to an end on July the 31st. And so that means that people who have been living in their homes and had not been able to pay for their mortgages or have been living in rental units will now have to find a solution to being able for them to be able to stay in their homes. If folks are impacted by that, if you're impacted by evictions, I would recommend that you contact the Pinal County Rental Assistance Program, which is at des.az.gov That's des.az.gov/ERAP. And if you find yourself in a foreclosure situation and you're in need of counseling and you should seek counseling, then I would suggest that you go onto the website at HUD.gov and seek out housing counselors. So thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate the time to be able to speak.
Thank you, Councilmember Wade. Sorry about the technical difficulties. And then last but not least here, as you all know, had the opportunity to meet with the U.S. Secretary of Transportation, Mayor Pete Buttigieg, no longer mayor, but that's what we call him, right? Mayor Pete. And so he is obviously the Secretary of Transportation appointed under the Biden administration. You know, regardless of where you fall politically, it really doesn't matter to me. What matters is the fact that, you know, we have a Secretary of Transportation willing to come out to the city of Maricopa, basically, and meet with us on the issue of the 347. Now, why is this important? Because that is what is going to be needed in order to get that roadway fixed. We're going to need money from the feds to do this. And so regardless of who's in there when the time comes, having those connections and having that information and having that knowledge firsthand of what's going on that roadway is absolutely critical. And so we ended up meeting with the Gila River governor. As you know, that roadway travels right through the Gila River Indian community, and you can't get it widened or, you know, put an overpass on it or do anything to it unless Gila River's on board. Well, guess what? They are. And so they sat in a room with myself and with FHWA representative from Arizona, Carla Petty, Mayor Pete, and then myself and also the Ak-Chin chairman and Governor Lewis and Representative O'Halloran from our 1st Congressional District. And as we sat there and talked about what is needed, we had a very lengthy discussion, and then we actually drove to the Riggs Road interchange on 347. And I can tell you, he met with the Mayor of Phoenix and the mayors of the East Valley. He met with all of the tribes, and they didn't go anywhere and do anything or see anything, but he did with us. And so he drove down to the location and ultimately sat there and talked to us and saw firsthand the backups that happened during rush hour. There happened to be an accident right there at that time, so they asked me if I'd staged it. I said if I had, it would have been bigger and more dramatic. You know, we'd had helicopters and stuff flying in, but no, it's okay. He got the point. And so that was a really good thing. And so I just wanted to convey that I've told you this before, it's all about relationships. Relationships matter. I cannot tell you that enough. And it's interesting to note that one of the reasons we received this special invite is not only because of our relationships with the folks that we employ in DC on our behalf, but also because of our representatives here, congressional representatives, but also in our landing of the Tiger Grant for the overpass. I attended a lot of ADOT meetings, and one of the individuals at the ADOT meeting, his name is Orlando Teller, and Orlando was an engineer that was asked by the governor out of the Navajo Nation to be on the State Transportation Board. He ended up being chair, and again, we ended up getting that appropriation from ADOT and ultimately the Tiger Grant, which allowed for the 347 overpass to happen. Now, Mr. Orlando Teller had run for the state legislature, represented that northern area of the state, and afterwards he was asked by the Biden administration to come be the representative from Indian Affairs at the Federal Transportation Agency. And so when he basically got to come back home and be representing here, he was running that meeting with the entire, all the tribal nations. And so again, he had put in a good word for us with the secretary because of our knowledge of transportation issues, as well as our passion and love for it and the need that the 347 is for us. So again, here's someone who from the past helped us in multiple ways and is still helping us in the future and presently, because again, relationships matter. So I think that concludes all of our reports today. Thank you very much for bearing with us. It's been a month, so obviously a lot's been going on, but hopefully that gives you some ideas that we are paying attention to what's transpiring on your behalf here in the city of Maricopa. That'll take us a report from the city manager, assistant city manager, acting city manager. Jen Brown, do you have anything for us tonight?
Nothing to report at this time, Mayor.
Thank you very much. And that'll take us to the call to the public. I do have 3 speaker cards. We'll go those first. And if there's anyone afterwards that'd like to approach the podium, you may do so. I think one of them, David Alley, is for an agenda item. Do you want to speak now at call to the public, or do you want to speak on the agenda item? Okay, go ahead. Please proceed. David, I'm not sure that button is pushed on that. There's a little green light on there.
Got it.
Perfect. Thank you.
So thank you, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council. Been a while since I've spoken with you. It's good to see you again. I'm David Alley. I'm the district manager of Maricopa Flood Control District. And just for the record, what we do is manage 12 miles of channel that run through Maricopa, commonly known as the Santa Rosa and the Santa Cruz channels. On the consent agenda tonight, item 7.2 concerns an ordinance to manage water flow into public areas, including a prohibition against draining pool water into the Santa Rosa and the Santa Cruz. Maricopa Flood Control District fully supports the adoption of this ordinance. Over the last 2 years, the district has repaired at least 6 areas of severe erosion on the Santa Rosa caused by residents backwashing pool water onto the banks of the channel. The average cost per repair is almost $15,000. And I know that sounds high to people that don't do this, but that's actually not a bad deal. We spent nearly $100,000 making repairs that were completely preventable. By the way, we spent more than $500,000 making repairs caused primarily by weather over a period of about 3 or 4 years. I believe most of the people using the wash in this manner were simply unaware of the damage that they caused. They have a 300-foot channel built to carry water behind their property, so why not? Well, the problem is the material on the banks is highly subject to erosion, and any water introduced at even a low velocity will create a trench, which only deepens over time. On at least 4 occasions, we have notified property owners who constructed apparatus to facilitate backwashing onto the channel banks. Each owner disabled the structure when we notified them, but we still had to repair the damage that they had caused. We actually had one contractor who emptied about 15,000 gallons onto the channel and really made a mess of that bank. Currently, there are several major developments underway that are going to be built along both channels, and as more homes populate the banks, the problem is only going to increase. So MFCD actually has no enforcement power. The only thing we could do is bring legal action against a property owner, which is a long, expensive process, as you know. And the penalties in this ordinance that I've read should act as a deterrent, especially since subsequent offenses carry increasing fines. Thank you to the council liaison, Councilmember Bob Marsh, who comes to all of our meetings. Thank you, Councilman Marsh. And City Manager Rick Horse, who listened when we described this problem and brought this solution this far. We encourage you to adopt this ordinance, and we thank you in advance for your support.
Thank you, David. We appreciate it. So we'll move back to the call to the public officially here. I have a speaker card for Anna Marie Knorr.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. I come here tonight in my capacity with Exceptional Health Care and the new Maricopa Community Hospital that'll be opening this fall. And they brought me on as a community outreach coordinator. So I look forward to working with all of you and working with the first responders and with all of the different healthcare providers in Maricopa and the citizens of Maricopa to make the Maricopa Community Hospital a success. I don't really need to tell you how amazing it's going to be because Vice Mayor Smith just gave a glowing explanation of it, so you're hired. But I just do want to say that I'm really excited about this facility coming to Maricopa. In the recent dust storm, I was traveling north on 347, and everything was stopped because there was no visibility and people weren't pulling off. But There was a young family, and they had a child in the car, and the child had hit their head, and it was after 8 p.m., and they needed medical attention, and there was nowhere in the city for them to go. And the just sheer fear you could see in their faces as they were out in a dust storm, knocking on people's windows, trying to tell them to move so they could get to town to get the care that their child needed. It gives me chills just thinking about that moment, because as a parent of 4, I just can't imagine what they were going through driving down Maricopa Road. And fortunately, in just a short couple months, there will be somewhere in the city for them to take their child to get immediate care so that they don't have to have the mental anguish of the 3:47 when their child is bleeding. So I was going to talk about what we did, but Mayor Smith, or Vice Mayor Smith, did that for me. So I just wanted to give that example of why it's so important that we bring these facilities to Maricopa, and that we're excited to be here. And I'm looking forward to meet with anybody and everybody who wants to talk about the facility and what it brings to Maricopa. So thank you.
Thank you, Anna Marie. We appreciate it. And then next up, I have Barry McCain.
Good evening, Mayor Price and City Councils. I'm proud to be here. Seems like I'm not the only one getting things done here. So, yes. First of all, I would start out and say, Mayor Price, thank you for being a great example. I talk to people all over the county, and thank you, sir. My mom used to tell me, said, history repeats itself because we don't learn from it the first time. Well, I just came back, including Juneteenth, going across the country as a freedom rider. Hasn't been done since 1974. But the first freedom riders that we had the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, very important. Well, this time I was going across the country, reliving the Civil Rights Movement, where we were protesting the filibuster. The filibuster, I protested personally because I felt that it stops democracy and due process. But during the whole time going across, the thing that impressed me more was on January 21st, 1964. We had 3 unarmed civil rights members killed. Just because they were trying to stand up so you have a right to speak. I personally think that the framers of the U.S. Constitution wrote the First Amendment not to pamper the people in power, but yet to allow the voice of people who are intent to change status quo. And we have right now a political gridlock, which I call, that will actually stop democracy if we don't come together as Americans to save democracy, together speaking with each other, not at each other. I have watched this come about over the years, and I need each one of us to work with each other, as I'm seeing here. Because as somebody wrote, woe unto the nation whose literature is disturbed by the intervention of power, because it's the closing down of the heart of the nation. That says it all right there. God bless us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. Appreciate it. Anyone else at this time? Those are all the speaker cards I have. Anyone else like to approach the podium? Tell us what's on your mind. Just tell us your name for the record. I know you, but.
It's okay. So my main concern living here in Maricopa is we only have one electric district and one water company. And for some of us, we might not like it living in this community, and you guys don't give us that much option. So I feel like it's kind of like twisting the arms of us as citizens here in Maricopa because we only have one electric district and one water company. And I'd like to see maybe if we could get another electric district or another water company, because my experience with the water company here is you have to start out first paying $100, and then your bill goes up. So I don't know how they charge you that amount, and then they put your bill up from there. So I would like to see more options instead of just one option, because some people might not like it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jessica. Appreciate it. Anyone else at this time like to approach the podium? Call to public. Okay, seeing no one, we'll go ahead and close the call to public this time. Thank you for your participation. We appreciate it. And that'll take us to item 7 of the agenda, which is the consent agenda. Council, this is for items 7.1 through 7.13. And just so you know, a bit of a mistake in the past by me, I apologize. The ordinance that we have in the city code at the moment talks about when we have an ordinance that it requires at least one read. So I'm going to go ahead and read 7.2 and 7.3 in order to comply with that code. But then we'll go ahead and, unless one of you wants it off of there, we'll leave it on consent, but we're at least applying to all the different areas of the official code. So 7.2 is ordinance 21-10, an ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of Maricopa, Arizona, adding section 8.10.040 to the Maricopa City Code related to the prohibiting water flow upon public areas within the city of Maricopa and providing for the severability and the effective date thereof. This is for discussion and action. Item 7.3, ordinance 21-12, which is an ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of Maricopa, Arizona, amending section 3.15.010A of the Maricopa City Code relating to the city manager's authority to increase the number of full-time employees and providing for the severability and the effective date thereof. This is for discussion and action. So, council, anyone have any questions or concerns with consent at this time? If not, can I have a motion to approve, please? Yes, by all means, Councilmember Vitiello.
Just wanted to ask on 7.2, how are we going to notify the people in there? Will be signs posted? That ordinance. How are they going to know? That's all I kind of want to know. I mean,
So how do they know that they're in violation of that
Yes.
ordinance?
Yes.
So, city manager, you want to take that? You want to pass that to Rudy or whoever? It's up to you guys.
I want to make sure it's posted or.
I think Josh will take this one.
Perfect, thank you. Please.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. So we will be doing, putting some, if approved, we'll be putting some additional information on our website. We have a little flyer helping citizens know about how they can appropriately drain pools, which would be into the sewer backwash with approval of the, for the most part, Global Water or whatever your utility company is. So we'll be trying to, to the best of our ability, informing citizens, also ramping up people going through and looking for that so we can stop it before it becomes a problem, assisting with the floodwater control district. So.
It's just because I know your favorite saying is you don't know what you don't know. So if they don't look at the website, I'm just saying, do you think we should put some postings up along some of those areas?
We are open to ideas.
Yeah,
we're open to ideas to try to get that out as apologize that feedback to as many people as we can. Just like with any code, we try to do our best to let people know about it.
Vice Mayor.
Brings up a good question, since one of our speakers during the public comment said we all just have one water company. Is it possible to put a blurb, to work with Global Water to put a blurb in our bills?
Yeah, I'm open to that. Global Water did work with us on this ordinance, and as we were drafting.
Then it seems like they'd be willing to put that, include that in the bills, or.
Yeah, I'm open, and I'll contact them.
Thank you. I think that would be helpful. Yeah. All right, thanks.
And as far as that goes, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. In the ordinance, it talks about using the sewer black caps that are in everybody's front yard, and so a lot of people do or don't know about that. But if you unscrew that and take that hose that comes from the pool filter and you run it through the backyard under the fence and into that, I mean, generally speaking, it doesn't cost anybody anything more. Global uses it to recycle that water, which goes back out and also adds to the baseline, total acreage of feet of drinkable water because we're given an extra half foot, a gallon, acre foot for so many gallons on the recycled side. So I think there's only a benefit and a positive that can come from that. So I think that if we were able to put that into our email blasts and something for the next couple of weeks and working with Global and putting it in the bills, that certainly would be beneficial. So.
Yeah, definitely do. Yeah, and so that's in the flyer that's prepared. So if approved tonight, we'll be putting that out.
Excellent. Okay. Great. Great. Any other questions or comments, concerns? Yes, Councilmember Marsh?
I'd like to move that we approve the consent agenda.
Okay, perfect. It's been motioned. Is there a second? Second, Councilmember Learman. Thank you very much. So there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion on consent? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, council members. Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Appreciate it. And that'll take us to item 8.1. This is also an ordinance. This is 21-11, an ordinance of the mayor and the city council of the city of Maricopa, Arizona, levying separate amounts to be raised for primary and secondary property tax levies upon each $100 of the assessed valuation of property subject to taxation within the city of Maricopa for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2022. This is for discussion and action. Now, again, before everybody freaks out in the audience here, please tell them what is going on here and why we are doing this.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, and members of council. I'm Lisel Blancarte, the budget manager. In accordance with Arizona state statute, the city of Maricopa held a public hearing on June 15th with the city's property tax levy and budget adoption. This item before you is the final step of the property tax levy adoption for fiscal year 21-22.
Perfect. And just for the record, again, we did lower those, so we're not increasing them. We lowered both the primary and the secondary, which is pretty unusual in a COVID year to be able to do that. Second year in a row.
Second year.
And then on top of all that, we did not have to go to a truth and taxation hearing because we're not raising that. This is just the final approval of setting of the rate. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Any questions, concerns, issues? Repeat it one more time. Yes, we're not raising any taxes. They're all coming down. That's a good thing for everybody.
Yes.
Repeat. Okay, anybody in the audience have questions there? I didn't think so. All right. With that, can I have a motion to approve, please? There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Councilmember Manfredi, apologies. And do you want this in roll call? Doesn't matter? Okay. With that, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed?
Aye.
Was not an opposed. That was an aye.
Thank you.
That was a reverb. Thank you. So with the 7-0, that passes the ordinance 8.1, which sets that rate. Thank you, Lizelle. And that completes our agenda for this evening. Thank you very much for participating and for being here. And with that, we will stand adjourned for 2 weeks, upon which we'll return here. So can I have a motion to conclude, please? There's a motion. Is there a second? And a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion.
Go Suns.
Thank you. Go Suns. Get out of here and go watch the game. Thank you. Appreciate it.